Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 586. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinstein.
Vengeance.
I was waiting to see what you would do. I was like, well, somebody's got to do something. And Tony Kokonakis.
Riddle me this.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 586 of the Moviecast. We're on Twitch. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. Please tune in. We're streaming live right now, so you can tune in, ask us questions during the podcast. We do field those as long as it's running properly. Tony tries to keep an eye on it for us and lets us know if anybody has any questions. So feel free to tune in to us live on Twitch. We're on YouTube the day after and streaming on your favorites like iTunes and Spotify after that. So anyways, guys, this is the Moviecast post The Batman. We do not have a spoiler cast yet coming up next week. Mike, give him one more week on this. He's got a newborn. I get it. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I get it. It's just, give you another week.
No, I had to choose. There was with our business, we got a suite at a college basketball game. But a suite includes like a free buffet. I had beers and stuff.
I can't even argue with that. There.
So and it was the spot was already there. I'm like, so I did that. But then so I couldn't justify 3 days later being like, so I'm gonna leave my less than 3-month-old and wife again to go watch a movie that's pretty long. That wasn't gonna fly. So we'll see.
Yeah, and
we'll see going forward.
And long it is. Getting into what we've been up to, guys. The Batman is something obviously that I've watched, Corey watched, Tony watched. Like I said, we'll do a spoiler cast next week. Can anybody here argue that the length, it was just too long?
Absolutely, it was too long.
I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with the length.
Okay, I was waiting. Somebody had to have it. I just felt like 20 minutes could have been shaved, and it would have been a concise, really good movie. Like that would have been it. It would have been perfect.
It wasn't not a good movie.
No. It
was a good movie.
I'm at like an 8. I'm at like an 8.5, almost 9 myself for this movie. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. But if it was like 20 minutes shorter, I'd be in the 9.5 zone.
Yeah, it was a good movie, but it could have been a great movie. In fact, I'm not a fan of the whole last act. I think that could just be thrown in the dumpster.
The third act, it gets. You know what it is? The third act gets hurt. But the third act gets hurt because of the length of the first two, and I feel like they could have trimmed from those first two acts to make the third act be fine into what you know what I mean? Like at that point, you're already 2 hours into the movie, and you're like, now we got this whole storyline unfolding here, and you're just like, like all that stuff just didn't have as much impact because it was just too long-winded, and there was a lot of brooding that they could have cut down on, which worked just fine. Like I really did enjoy this movie quite a bit, and I thought Pattinson is really good as Batman, and we don't really as Bruce Wayne. I don't know. In my opinion, I think he's okay as Bruce Wayne, but that's just me. So I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible. No spoilers.
No, I know. I'm interested in what you guys are saying. My opinion, having not seen it going forward, is if the movie's good enough, the length shouldn't hurt.
Absolutely, but it wasn't good enough to warrant 3 hours. In my opinion,
for 2 hours, Mike. For 2 hours, I was sitting there because I knew I was like, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, I'm loving this movie, and like 2 hours in, I'm like, man, like this is great. This is great. I looked at my watch, I'm like, oh, it's only been 2 hours. Oh, geez. I'm like, I got another whole hour of this. But like at that point, I was like loving that movie, and then the last third just.
To me, it
didn't have enough together.
It didn't have enough, and I feel like they could have easily saved some of it for a sequel. Because let's be honest,
he tried way too much. So this is the number one movie in the country, and it did 128.
Yeah,
very great, very good opening weekend. But yeah, the length hurt it there in money too. I mean, it would have been 150, I think, if it was 2 hours. If it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, it probably would have done better.
It also came out early in the week, though, didn't it?
No, that's just the weekend.
That's showing on Tuesday.
Yeah, but that's not in these numbers. It's Thursday night midnights into the Friday, Saturday, Sunday numbers is 128.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was really good. I would just say about the length. It felt like Return of the King where it has like 3 endings. Where I'm like, oh,
yes,
okay, like
yes,
all right, this is a good place to like stop, and then it keeps going. I was like, okay, I was like, all right, okay, now is here a good place to stop? And it's like one more time. It's like, how many more? How many more things? Like, and then like finally when it did it, I was like, this better be the ending. Like, this better be the ending right here. Like, this needs to be the ending shot. This would be a great last ending shot. Please don't continue it. And then it finally was. I was like, thank God. And then I texted you guys because like, I gotta pee so bad. I was like, is there a post-credit thing? You guys were like, no, just leave. I was like, thank God. I was the only one who left. Everybody else was just sitting in their seats, and I was just like, suckers.
They would be so annoyed because I sat there for the whole credits and I had to pee, and I'm like,
you did?
Fuck
Oh, wow.
Christ.
I looked
stayed.
it up and they said there's no post credits, so I didn't stay.
I saw that. I just did a quick Google search. Is there a post credit scene? And they said the post credit scene explained, and I'm like, okay, if I saw that, so I know there's a post credit. Now, usually that means stay. Don't stay. You don't have to stay for post credits, folks.
I saw it on Thursday night, and I googled, and it said right first thing it says there is no post credit scene. There is an Easter egg. If you want to stay, you can probably look it up afterwards. But if you want to stay, it's kind of cool. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't stay. We sat through it, and that was a mistake. That post credit thing made me angry. And then there's a whole ARG thing for it, which people love.
Going on before the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So, but Corey, give us your feedback on the film because you didn't give us any of that. So
yeah, well, so like first thing like Tony asked was like how to like film. First thing I said was this movie is way overhyped. Like that's the first thought I had. Like it is way overhyped. Like it is not at the level that people are coming out of the theater. It is up there for me as one of the best Batman movies, I think.
Sure. Yeah, I have to decide where it lands, and that's a good thing. But I have to decide where it lands.
I've been thinking about it, the more I actually really like it. And I said I don't think it's too long. As far not that it's not too long. It is too long. But I don't think it needed to be shortened to be a better movie, because I do think that the arc of the characters that we had would not have fit. You couldn't end it where you end like in the first or second endings that you have without you don't get to the point where he gets to.
There's a part, and I'm not going to spoil it.
There's a part.
I want to talk about it in the spoiler cast so bad, but there's a part that you could absolutely take out of the movie and it would improve it because it was
there's a scene,
a colossal.
It does not need to be in the movie, but that scene's like 5 minutes long, so.
Was it? It felt like longer. If we're talking about the same thing, I was like, I don't know about
that. It has to be in the movie. The ending, that one ending part did not have to be in the movie.
I didn't have a problem, like, because for me, like every time the ending came, I was like, oh man, I hope this is not the ending. I want more. And then it wasn't the ending. It's like, okay, cool, I want more. And then I got more. And so like every time an ending came, I was like, oh, I'm getting more. And I want.
Problem I had though, Corey, with the more you got was like the ending that you thought was the ending. I'm like, this would be great if it ended here, but I'm like, it seems quick. And then the ending we got, I'm like, I don't know. It was very, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with what happened. It was cool what happened. I'm trying to be vague. This is the spoiler cast conversation. We can't talk about this in this podcast.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but
and the inspirations from the comics, they did a pretty neat job of incorporating a lot of stories from the comics in here, and taking things that work.
The cinematography was amazing. It was like very well shot.
This was one of the best. This is probably the best filmed and
100%.
Directed
the
film.
Sound was incredible.
Yeah,
the sound was incredible.
This felt like a believable like Gotham, and not just like this is New York
or grounded.
This was it's usually a fantastical kind of place, and this was like. Could be New York. It was like it felt like
the Batman the Nolan films. That felt like a city.
That's Chicago.
That's
Pittsburgh.
That felt like a different place. This felt like a comic book city.
Yeah,
for sure. And like the opening sequence, I like the bookend of the opening narration and the.
I got you there. I mean, they had to do it that way.
Taking this character from where you have him in the beginning to where you have him at the end. That arc is the best arc. Is the best Batman arc I think in any.
I think it's been fantastic, the realization of what that was. You're right. Trying to keep it as vague as possible, but I do agree with you on that. That's why I like that story so much. I love the story so much because of that.
Yeah, I love that it's a year 2 Batman, and I know people are like having complaints about Bruce Wayne and stuff, but like for me, because of who he is when we meet him, this is not like a Nolan or Tim Burton or Joel Schumacher Batman, like or even Ben Affleck Batman. To be fair, like this is a guy who was basically raised by Alfred in this movie, and not gone off to fight be in this like at the League of Assassins or League of Shadows or whatever. It's different storyline here, And so like I like where he is because of where we see him in the movie and then where he gets to. And so I do think you'll have a different Bruce Wayne, but where he was in this movie made sense for me. Like I think that's who we would get, like a recluse billionaire we don't see very often, like who like has to deal with a huge loss that he doesn't know how to deal with.
He's still dealing with that. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
And he's like, and the thing is, like he says in the trailer, he's I am vengeance. I'm like this super angry, like emo guy who's got a bazillion dollars. I'm just gonna use that money to like dress up and like get vengeance on people for things that happened in my past.
And Zoe Kravitz,
she did an amazing job. She is by far the best Catwoman.
All four of the main like Batman characters, like Riddler,
incredible, like
fantastic. And Gordon, like there was like almost a buddy cop thing with Gordon, which was cool.
Incredible. Like,
and even again, was really well like portrayed.
Again, I have no problem dropping the incredible word on this movie, which is why I was talking about like 9.5s, but I felt like it was just 20 minutes too long, to where I was at 8.5 or 9 myself, because this movie was just. I loved it, and obviously I was hyped at the beginning because it's my director.
I didn't want to leave that world, like that.
Yeah, but that's the idea. I mean, that's so good about this, and that's what he builds. Matt Reeves is so good with like Planet of the Apes. What he did with that whole universe he built.
Detective. Whoa.
And you get the world's greatest. You get the world's greatest detective, and I love. We have not seen that in a Batman movie, and it's ballsy to do that because we're so used to an action-packed Batman movie, and this is we got a whodunit.
There is some stuff that happens in the trailer that, like, when it happens in the movie, it's like, oh, this is not how I expected it to go.
And then, I mean,
be used, and I was like, I like this, and I really liked some of the stuff they did with Riddler.
Was that not the greatest Batmobile sequence of all time?
You stole that? Yeah, it's a really good. It's a really good. Sequence.
We left the theater asking that same question, but yes, it's still the greatest sequence I think I've ever seen of the Batmobile.
It's a great Batmobile reveal for sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah. For me, it's just the first 2 hours, like you were saying, Jim, are really awesome. Like amazing. Yeah. Like edge of your seat, like what's happening, like the wheels in your head. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But then just the last act to me, I just like it. Kind of felt other people can like it. That's fine. For me, it felt flat, and I was just like, the more I think about it now, I'm just like, this didn't make sense, and like I kind of wish they had just done it differently.
Well, the big thing
it's almost like
falls apart. I think is that like because you're saying like the how smart the Riddler is, and then where he ends up is like how does he what is the plan? What's the plan?
Yeah, I was like okay, yeah.
Well, Paul Dano is amazing as the Riddler, by the way. His reactions at the ending there, I'm trying to keep it so vague as possible, but he's so good with that ending part. But you're in it's world building mode, Act 3, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah. I look at it like world building mode at that point. And it was. You're establishing.
I felt like it was setting up
Gotham.
For the next one, but
that's what I'm saying. World building.
That's the
You're
same
world
thing,
building.
I would say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough.
That's enough. I know. But we kept it extremely vague. I promise you, Mike. That is super vague. And then, so that's. I mean, of note, I watched Picard as well, which love that show. Patrick Stewart is just incredible as Jean-Luc Picard. I'm so happy that show's back on, but it's only got one more season after this. Even if that show had Whoopi Goldberg in it, but what's that?
Marvel movies. Gotta go play Xavier in the Marvel movies.
I know, but yeah, so I watched that and really enjoyed it, and that's about it. So for me, anything else, Tony? Of note? Corey?
Yeah, actually, I watched got through the Yellow Jackets TV show.
I heard that was really good.
And it's only one season, but this is like one of the best shows that I've seen in a long time. And
that's what I've heard.
It is essentially like Lost meets Lord of the Flies, and like, the premise is like a high school girls soccer team. It crashes in like the Canadian wilderness and get stuck there for 19 months. So they're there for like a year and a half, and the things they have to do to survive. So it goes from the 1996 when it happens to 2021, so it bounces back and forth between the two periods. And the opening sequence itself is just like this girl running. She falls into a pit and gets spiked, and then there's these characters that essentially eat her. That's the beginning of the show. And you're like, oh shit, like how is this gonna happen? Like what's gonna happen here? And so then you see some characters in the future and some characters their younger selves in the past, and then so like who like there's this whole mystery of who's gonna make it, like who else is gonna make it, how they're gonna make it, and there's this other like paranormal slash like kind of extra like thing going on here that's like that lost mystery thing. So like something's happening in these woods,
like polar bears,
supernatural.
Yeah,
and it is like the mysteries and the theories and stuff, like where these characters are in '96 to where they are now, like how they get there and all that stuff, and how that experience is impacting their lives. It's just really, really neat, and like I said, the mystery of everything is really cool. Like trying to figure out like who these people are and where they're gonna be, and like the 2021 crew has like this thing that's happening that's going on that they're trying to like sort out. And yeah, it's just I would highly recommend it. It's on Showtime, unfortunately, so
I still want to check it out.
But
there's a lot of free trials out there.
Oh yeah, you can get
a lot of free trials. Yeah,
you can binge it.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth it in my opinion. And Christina Ricci is so good in this. Like she is.
Yeah,
she's one of the older.
She's excellent in stuff. Yeah, she's always really good in stuff. So,
like her character is like my favorite character on the show.
I would recommend Vox Machina, by the way. Still, I mean, I did watch the rest of that.
Critical Roles thing.
Yeah, I loved it. I was kind of prepping for a D&D run. Yeah, I was priming myself for a D&D run, but I don't have time, unfortunately, until summer to play D&D. I was going to join a game, but so I was into it there. But the show is really good. It's really worth watching on Amazon Prime, and it's a really good show. Animation's great on it. It's a very bloody, swears, but it's fun, like a D&D world. It's really good. So, Mike, what have you been watching now?
Nothing.
Really? Nothing? I thought you were gonna give us something else here.
He's been playing Horizon, man.
Yeah, I know. I just
don't watch anything.
No more Young Justice or anything right now.
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Bounced off.
All right. That's gonna wrap up what we've been up to. Let's get into some news, guys. There's an I Am Legend sequel in the works.
Oh God.
Was there a sequel to that book?
Don't know. Don't care.
What I don't remember is I'm confused by which ending was real.
The real one was when we saw he died in the real ending. That was like.
That's not the real ending.
That's the one that was in the fucking theaters and everybody saw, because not everybody watched the director's cut. I'm sorry, but the one he survived in is the director's cut.
He survived in one?
Yeah. Apparently.
See, that's why I'm confused. I've only seen it on TV, so I didn't even remember which is which.
Sorry. Keep going. I'm gonna make Craig leave and join again.
So I guess there's one where he lives, and that's how they're going forward with this with him. Is Will Smith in this? Is that what's happening? Okay.
There he's recording.
No, we kicked him.
He's back though. Wait, he's gone. Oh, he's gone. Fucking Craig.
What happened?
There he goes.
Now recording.
There he is.
He's back. It's the crash he's been doing. So go on. So yes.
Yeah, Will Smith is in the movie. So
Michael B. Jordan, Will Smith.
Is he gonna be playing his son or something? Like, what's going on?
Who knows? But I know they didn't rewrite the ending, but they had their second ending there where he survived, and we'll see. What else we got here? We've got let's see. Oh, back to the Batman. There was the Gotham PD spin-off show on HBO Max, which, by the way, I'm a little more excited for now thanks to Peacemaker, because it was so good. Matt Reeves has confirmed that it's now turned into more of an Arkham series, which yeah, I mean, I'm kind of psyched for that, actually, after the movie. You know? There's, like, a whole aspect of things that we didn't get into in the movie because 3 hours wasn't enough time. And Arkham is one of them in that universe. I think Arkham's a great exploration piece for that universe.
It's neat that they're expanding on it and giving us more. Like, I'm more interested in the Penguin, personally, but...
yeah, I mean, give him credit. Like, Colin Farrell, amazing in that role. Like, holy cow. Yeah, I had to explain it to Amanda that's Colin Farrell. So, let's see here. I posted that twice, unfortunately. Tony, I didn't even see you post that before.
Yeah, I was like, this is the first thing I posted.
I haven't missed it. I deleted the God of War one. I went to post the God of War one, and I'm like, oh, he already posted that. So
What's going on with God of War, Jim?
God of War is getting its own TV series.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think it's terrible for a TV show.
Because Sony wanted to do video games that looked and acted like movies, and now they want to make those movies based on those games.
I
think this
Uncharted, we're getting Last of Us. So I mean, why not God of War? I mean, that's
I think that Universal
out there too.
Uncharted, Corey didn't feel like it was smart enough, and then we don't know about Last of Us, but I think the God of War, the new version of that universe, that world, I think lends itself nicely.
I know that game. That was one of my favorite games of the last generation, and it's already cinematic enough. It's just like you already did this pretty much in a better way. I don't want to see a shortened, uninteractive version of that.
It's not.
Why don't we just? It could be like Hercules, the legendary journey. Remember that with Kevin Sorbo?
Could also be.
No, that wasn't a video game first.
No, but yeah.
People.
What's that, Corey?
It could have been like a bad version of Hercules too. So.
Sure, a young Hercules I think was really shitty, but yeah,
Well, I mean, the thing with this is when you take these stories out of games and put them like with Uncharted, you realize, oh, this is just a generic action thing that's kind of vaguely like Indiana Jones or something else, and it doesn't really stand on its own too well. And I think that's bound to happen here again.
Uncharted did fine, right? It's like worldwide,
yeah,
like $300 million.
Yeah, it did fine. It's gonna be a sequel, absolutely.
Yeah, and so like it's for the people that they want to expand their brand.
It's just the reverse of like licensed games that we get. Now it's getting licensed movies. That's all it is.
I guess so.
Guess who makes movies? Sony. Guess who made these games? Sony. Like.
And guess who makes TV shows? Sony.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
you gotta get it out there, and it's easy. It's easy. Like it's lazy. Is really what it is. It's like, oh, we can't come up with something original, so here it is. Oh, but speaking of that, Yellow Jacks is very much an original thing. Like for something original, not like, even though it's got inspirations from like Lost and Lord of the Flies, it's its own thing. That's nice to see.
Cool.
I'm sure the way they look at it too is just. They have basically all the storyboarding done for them. They can be like, hey, look, here's the game. Here's the high moments. And now they have, with the 2 to 3 years of market research, they'd be like, oh, this polled well. This did well. People like this. People love this. People didn't like this. And they'd be like, all right, well, now we can just condense it through
percentage of people that played the game that want to watch the show and people that like watch the show that want to play the game. So you're going to get them on both sides.
Yeah. So... yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting, and we'll see. I'm actually like, I think that world's fine for a series. We'll see what they go with it. So look for Amazon or Netflix to pick it up.
Expand like you wouldn't have
to be pretty high.
They did these stories in comic books better, but now we're getting
that's I'm not saying don't do adaptations, but I'm saying when video games have become cinematic on purpose, but they're like.
No,
these high budget, high level things, you're going backwards. I feel like.
No, I
step backwards.
I'm just saying it's just more expanding your brand.
And maybe not. Like when you think about the Halo TV series, this isn't Sony, but who's gonna want to watch that? Who isn't a fan of the games?
Yeah.
Like that seems like. People who haven't played Halo will be like, what the fuck is this?
It's all cyclical. It's cyclical. They want people engrossed in these franchises. That's why you do
these. It's enough
talking about it.
But again,
that's everything that if the game's not talked about right now, they want you talking about the show. If the show's not being talked about, they want you talking about the game.
That goes back to this. Let's bring it full circle, guys. Back to the Batman. And the ARG that we're just talked about, where like they have this whole campaign going on where like there could be a big villain reveal next week, according to the countdown timer and all this stuff with the, like it's just like, so Mike, you have a week to watch this stuff. But give them credit. Give them credit. I mean, they're still extra. Like Corey, I remember you love a good ARG, right? Like you love a good hunt and all the puzzles and all that stuff, right? I mean,
Sombra pretty much broke that whole thing. Like, yeah, it's just. We were done with these for a while.
Okay. So Blizzard killed it for you. So.
I mean, kill it for everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a cool thing to have. Like, this extra content.
Nah.
And
Gotham Knights also did that bullshit, and that kind of ruined that reveal as well. It's just like, this is what we were getting after all of that nonsense.
I don't know, but I feel like it's going to be good. And the Halo series on Paramount Plus, which is this month, I feel like if it's good, it's going to draw more audience in. That's what they want. They want more.
I
If
just,
they
I
can get a
just
couple
don't.
more.
I think it's
Blast
too
that all
niche
over
already.
Paramount, too. It's like you're not gonna be able to watch anything on that service without seeing some Halo ad or advert.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, they spent enough on it, so you're gonna get it advertised everywhere. So, all right, that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Moviecast. So thanks for tuning in. You can write us allyoucangeek at gmail.com. I'm sorry, allyoucangeek at gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, All You Can Geek. Like us on Facebook. We're on Twitch. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. We usually start with the movie cast, but we do vary it up on occasion. We have bonus rounds coming up with like spoiler cast, like we said, for the Batman. So please watch for that next week. We will do that. Much more in-depth thoughts on this movie that was very good. Strongly recommend go seeing. But there's some issues, which we will talk about during the spoiler cast. So that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.